y'all doing? I'm live on my iPad, y'all. So if it looks a little different, that's why your girl is in here cooking. So hey y'all, how are y'all today? Let me turn y'all to me. Hold on. Hey y'all, how is it going? What is up? Oh my gosh, y'all. I have literally been reporting on student loan forgiveness for years. Since 2021 or late 2020, but 2021 definitely. I got a whole playlist on student loan forgiveness, so if you haven't checked that out. But yes, y'all, student loan forgiveness is not here. So I know a lot of folks, we're hoping that today would have turned out different. I think the last several decisions from the Supreme Court, like over this last week, have just been a hot mess, and this was just the icing on the cake, right? Oh my gosh! So it is what it is. In case you've been under a rock, in a 6-3 decision, the SCOTUSes denied student loan forgiveness. They said that Mr. Biden exceeded his presidential authority and that he was supposed to go through Congress first. And that's how this thing was supposed to go. So he did not do that. And there were two cases that sued basically because of that. And those people shown some victory today. The thing is that one of the folks who sued, they were complaining because they were not going to be eligible for the full 20,000 because they didn't get Pell Grants. So Biden's plan, if you got Pell Grants, you were going to get up to 20K, and if you didn't, then you would get 10K. And one of those folks were saying that, hey, that's not fair, blah blah blah. But it's like, now you don't get nothing. So yeah, I feel like they definitely held on to the end of the month for real, because today they had to make the decision because they're about to go on to recess. But they definitely held on for as long as they could. And guess what? It's done. It is finished. So I know I was up this morning because I knew they was going to come out around 10. So I was up on my iPad. I was on the Supreme Court's website. I'm like, what is happening? And I saw one decision come out. I'm like, okay, so of course, and that was the creative versus, I don't know, whatever, about the web designer who didn't want to design things for same-sex marriages. I saw that decision come out. And then I'm like, okay, well, the last two is student loan forgiveness. And then I was like, refreshing. Then I saw one pop up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I quickly browsed it, and I was like, okay, this sounds like it ain't going. It was a lot of legal jargon. But I'm like, from what I can deduce, it sounds like it's a no. But I'm like, okay, we got one more. Child, that other one was like, heck no. So that just kind of got me to thinking, I feel like Grandpa probably knew that he was gonna have to go through Congress first. That's just me. Because I'm like, it was all a lie. It was all a lie. But I know a lot of people are upset. Y'all know my situation. I paid off my student loans during the pandemic, but then I got a refund. So listen, I have my fingers crossed too. Oh, am I gonna be able to zoom to the bank today and get this sucker cashed? And that ain't happened. So I definitely feel like, but I also feel like, well, at least I know it's paid regardless. There's a lot of folks too who, of course, they were hoping for this student loan forgiveness, but y'all, the PSLF, the Biden administration has done a lot of overhaul with that. There are a lot of people who are not going to get it, but they put in for that limited waiver, which I believe they're going to open back up. They put in for that limited waiver, y'all, and they got their student loans forgiven. I ain't talking way more than 20K. Also, state employees, a lot of them have gotten their student loans forgiven too through the PSLF, I believe. I was just talking to somebody because we're going to a conference later this month, and she got 80K, like $80,000 forgiven, y'all, which I'm pretty sure was her balance. So the PSLF is still an option, but that's only for folks who are within public service. Like everybody's not in public service. Maybe this may push some people into that. Y'all know I was a teacher, so I got student loan forgiveness as a teacher because I worked in a Title I school for 5 years, and I worked in special education as well. And I got 17.5. I'm pretty sure that's still the number unless they increased it. Hopefully they didn't decrease it, but I got 17.5. Um, and that was, when was that? I was probably in like 2020, once I finally put in like all the paperwork. So, there is student loan forgiveness out there, but as far as this overhaul of, everybody's getting it, yes, I'm sorry, sugars, that ain't happening. Now, I did go back and watch the press conference, y'all, because I thought he was going to do a press conference like tonight. You know how they do like the 8 o'clock address thing? But it had already happened by the time I found out that he was going to do a press conference. So I watched it, but she kept it short because he already know that people was going to be grilling him. And you know how they'll shout out questions like at the end. So one of the people was like, I guess like the people in the crowd, they was like, how do you feel that you gave hope to all these people and it's gone? He was like, I didn't sell false hope. I was like, oops, y'all heard Grandpa. He said that he did not sell false hope and that the Supreme Court sucked away whatever hope there was. I was like, they did. They sucked it right away, just like a vampire, child. So, but no. And then I was just on Facebook and I was like reading comments about things, and they were like, that's why it's important for us to know who we're voting in, because Trump really got the head up on the Supreme Court because he got all of those conservatives in, blah blah blah. Like people were saying things like that, and I think it is important, that we gotta be aware of who we're getting voting into certain positions. People who will understand the plight of others. Not folks who ain't never really experienced this, so they don't care, one way or another. But yeah, I'm like 3 or maybe like 4. I don't know how long Trump been in office. Has it been 4 years already, or it's about to be 3, 4? Listen, 3 or 4 years, whatever. And finally, it has came to the conclusion that he can't do it. So in that press conference, y'all, he addressed what he had already done for student loan forgiveness, and I've been following this, so I know that like folks with disabilities, that has helped them a lot as far as those with disabilities who cannot work, and getting their student loans forgiven, expanding the PSLF. In addition to, he said increase in Pell Grants. I ain't gonna lie, I really did a lot of research in that area. But it sounds like that he's increased Pell Grants apparently. So I don't know. Drop it in the comments and let me let me know on what he did for that, because I don't know. And so he talked about that. He kind of opened up with what he's already done. I do agree that there's been some strides there. There seems to be more of a focus on this than any other presidency before, at least that I paid attention to. So I agree with that. But he also talked about that they're going to try to go another route. So he's like, okay, I can't do it through the HEROES Act, because that's what they were trying to do. He was trying to cite the HEROES Act, which basically says that in times of like economic distress or like natural disasters and things, that the president can like do things like this to help the economy. But the Congress was like, or not the Congress, the scholars was like, no, you can't, and you need to go through the Congress, right? So he's saying that he's going to use the Higher Education Act, and that the Secretary of Education, Michael Cardona, should be able to do that. That's what he was saying. But they said that it is going to take longer. He was kind of talking it up today, like, oh, we've already started. I don't know, and I don't know what that means. Like, what do you mean started? Was there paperwork? Like, did they press a button? Like, what was it? Like, I don't know what that means. But he was saying that Michael Cardona has already started. And while it's going to take longer, they're really going to try to do this. And he was saying waive or discharge. And he used another word too, but I can't think of what it was. But he said waive or discharge loans under certain circumstances. So I'm like, that kind of sounds like what's already being done. Folks with disabilities,
people who are in public service. You know, there's been certain groups of people who have been able to get student loan forgiveness, but as we know, there are millions of people who don't fall into a lot of these categories. So I'm not sure what other category, your loans will be able to be discharged under if you don't fall under that, outside of you can't afford to pay them, but he also talked about the income repayment plan. I think that's the IPR thing that goes by your income, and basically, folks are only going to have to pay up to 5% or 5% of their student loans. And he was like, you do that for 20 years without missing no payments, and then we'll forgive it. I thought it was 10 years, but even still, man, that's a long time. Like, it's not like I understand people pay on homes and things for that, that long, but you own a home at the end. Like, you already got the degree. So I'm like, that's really, I wouldn't want to be paying on nothing. Like, no, you're going to be paying until you die if you do something like that. So that was like I don't know about that, Uncle Biden. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but no. So that was a thing with that. In addition to, like I said, he said that he's trying to go this new route, but it's gonna take some time. And I'm thinking, well, how much time do you have left in the presidency? Like, is it gonna be by the end of that? Like, I don't think so. So, y'all, I just think today, like, I can understand just the discouragement from a lot of people. In addition to, like I said, this decision was like the icing on the cake, because there's been a lot of the affirmative action stuff. There's been a lot of decisions made surrounding disadvantaged populations, that it is quite, concerning to see. I think we all, should be concerned in some kind of way. But yeah, this one right here, we was hoping that you could have put a nice 4th of July special on it, baby. The people was hoping they could have had a crab leg dinner this weekend. But no, they got to get ready to pay them student loans, so ain't no crab legs. Um, and that's another thing. So the student loans payments will be resuming October, I believe they said. But interest starts back September 1st. So what is this? This is well, we might as well say July. Tomorrow's July. Tomorrow's my sister's birthday. Shout out to my sister. Happy birthday to her. July, August, September. That's 2 months, So that's 2 months, Now we know that it's been 3 years since there's been no interest, no none of that. But now you got 2 months to get your act together. And I was listening to the Dave Ramsey show yesterday, child. They're having a ball right now, with this news. But was listening to the Dave Ramsey show, and they were talking about people, who went out and bought these big homes, got these big cars and all this other stuff because they didn't have, they had this free money, within their budget to do so, but not really, because y'all gonna have to pay the piper, and that's gonna be a lot. Some people were paying mortgages really for their student loans, especially those folks with 6-figure debt. Like, even 5% of like 6 figures is still, pretty substantial for some people, or for most people. But life gonna get back real. People's going on all these trips, and they got their Beyonce tickets, and now the payments is finna be back, and the people are upset. So I'll probably make a video about that. 2 months. 2 months is not. It's not 3 years, but it is enough time to get a plan in place and to do something. For your as far as starting to pay off these loans, because I think for our generation, like millennials, I think we could kind of say this a lot, that we didn't really know like what we was doing, with the student loans. We didn't know what we was signing XYZ. But this generation now, and even just now in our country, there's been more of a focus on, oh, that's what I was doing, and I probably wouldn't have done that, if I knew that. So now there's more of a focus on how, you cannot do that and things of that nature. But it still leaves the people in the same predicament of that they gonna have to pay these loans, which it is very disheartening, especially for just people who, single mothers and elderly, things of that nature, who have student loan debt. I hate to see that. I really do. But I'll be making a video on probably sometime this week on how you can get a plan in place. Y'all already know I got a $5 e-guide. I'll pin it in the comments, but it is on the video that just premiered. So y'all check that out for $5. You get it immediately. It is a digital download. And I'll also be doing a video for the people who got a refund back, like myself. So that video will probably premiere on Monday. But y'all know I got a refund back. Child, I done had this $14,000 check since February, holding on to it, didn't want to cash it because I was like, well, let me see what happens. They didn't already cut the check. But yeah, today I had to, get that, I guess, out of order. So I'll talk about the process for that on next week as well. And then I think about the people who, child, probably got that check back months ago and it's gone. And now, you got to pay that mess again. I can only think about those folks as well. So I'm not going to say he sold false hope, but, some things were said. Some things were said, even just from the people who are backing him, who are saying, oh, the president can do this with a stroke of a pen, da da da. And the Supreme Court is saying, no, he can't. What is y'all talking about? So that's a whole thing, as well. I just think there was a lot of misinformation, of course, and there were people, who really were banking, on this. But that just reminds me, like, you cannot depend on the government, for anything. I'm sorry, especially if you're a person of color. Like, have you not seen anything about history? So you have to, put that within yourself. You are your student loan forgiveness. You are your best bet at getting a better job. You are your best bet at living the life that you want to live. Unfortunately, the government is not in that. So, listen, y'all. I feel like relieved that it's finally over. Y'all, I'm making some sauce and it is not thickening up like I need it to. It's thickening up at the top. This is my first time making it how I made it. So that's what I'm doing, in case you're wondering. But yeah, I just kind of feel like, just a little relieved that, okay, it's finally over. Unfortunately, I ain't getting my check back. But, it is what it is. And that just reminds me of another thing. Like, I knew that either way, whatever way the situation went, whether they was forgiven or not, I knew that my stuff was taken care of. And that's a good feeling, because I know that there's people who are on the other side of that who don't have that feeling right now. And, my position is, like, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. Like, the last thing you want is for something from all these years ago to stop you from living your best life. So that's me personally. That's my belief. Yeah, pay your student loans. And I understand people have, serious large amounts. Okay, you got to put a plan in place and pay them. Trust me, I understand. It was not easy. I understand that we was misinformed. I listen, all the things. I totally agree with you. But now, knowing what we know now, we all made terrible decisions in the past. And sometimes you got to clean that junk up. So, it took me 9 months to pay off $14,180. I did it through side hustling, DoorDash, Uber Eats, working part-time jobs, working at a community college part-time, tutoring students, counseling folks on the side, teaching classes on the side regarding different things, selling stuff. I did anything you could do to make money. I did it. So that's how I paid mine off. And I was here, I know people, well, you only had this much. Okay. Well, yeah, that's how much I had. Could you not have, paid off, a good portion during 9 months as well? Yeah, you can. I think it's like people just need that encouragement. Hopefully somebody's just like, you know what, I'm tired of waiting around. I'ma just be encouraged and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Actually on the Dave Ramsey show earlier this week, there was a couple, something like a black couple from Fort Worth, and they paid off like $300,000 in 3 years, and that was their house, and their student loans, and I was like, wow, like that's a very encouraging story. Now, as somebody who was single, who, I ain't had nobody else income, but my own, I understand that, hey, it could, you may not be able to do that much in that amount of time, but whatever you can do is something, so get your plan in place, girl or sir, and just rock with it. That's what I did. It sucked. Yes, it sucked, working every single day. And as soon as you, get that extra check, you already know where it's going straight to your debt. But that just pushed me just even harder to be like, you know what, I'm finna do this and I'm finna be done with it and never ever again, right? So that is where I am on this whole thing. But I want to know, like, how are y'all feeling? Like, and y'all gonna have to forgive me because I'm kind of doing two things at once. You'll see this short later of me making sauce from scratch. But I want to know, like, how are y'all feeling like about this whole thing? Like, I mean, are you excited? Are you upset? Do you feel like, Mr. Biden just lied through his teeth or dentures, whatever he got, whatever situation? Let me stop. Let me leave Grandpa alone, okay? You know, how are you feeling? I definitely want to know. From what I've seen, a lot of people, are just like, y'all should have known and get a job. That is so. Somebody was in my comments today telling somebody that get a job. Like, don't you think that the people are working? They aren't making. It's not enough to pay off their student loans. So stop saying that. Like, who doesn't have a job? Come on. It's bigger than that. Like, yes, it starts there, of course, but it's a larger issue, at hand. Because I was, I worked at the university for the last 4 years. We still got young folks signing their name on stuff that they don't know what they signing. We still got parents taking out all this money on behalf of their students who ain't going to class, by the way. You know, and it's just it's bigger than that, right? Especially for disadvantaged populations and things of that nature. It's a bigger issue than get a job. Like, duh. We know that. So, and that's just for the folks who always say that. But I'm going to continue to keep my eye on this. I feel like I feel like, okay, that this is it. But I will still continue to report on the student loan news, especially just with any other updates, things of that nature. Your girl is still going to continue to keep y'all updated, as well, of course, as how to just get your money right. I am back, y'all. I got back from Israel. Was it like 2 or 3 weeks today? It was an amazing time. I still got some vlogs I need to post. Y'all got 3 videos this week, so I ain't gonna, be on y'all line too much. But maybe next week I'll post at least one of those vlogs. So I am back. It was an amazing trip. Oh my gosh, like, wow. Like, I still can't believe, like, I was in the middle of the Judean desert, hiking where Jesus was. Listen, hiking up a mountain every single day. I saw camels. I ate a lot of good food. The things that I read about in the Bible, I actually saw those things. So that was really cool. Met a lot of cool people. Wow. Like, I'm just like, oh, child, God is good. So yeah, I'm very still just like excited about the trip. Be sure to sign up for my newsletter if you have not. I do have a weekly newsletter that I send out to my folks, or at least I try to get to them weekly. I posted like a few photos and things that the other folks have not seen yet, and I'll post those for everybody else soon. But make sure to subscribe to my newsletter. It is free. And you get a freebie, so it's free for you, and I gave you something free. So make sure you sign up for that, folks. And yes, y'all, I'm back. I'll be getting back with the lives. I thought this was a good way to get the lives just restarted. So I'll be back with the lives, y'all. And listen, I am cooking right now. I'm making some shrimp pasta, and I'm just kind of letting my sauce simmer and thicken up. It kind of look like it's doing something. Whether it's not, I'm about to eat because I'm starving. So y'all be sure to, if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that video. Be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank y'all for y'all support. We're creeping up on 2K subscribers. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm gonna see y'all later. Y'all happy Friday.